My name is Fred Jing. I came from Malaysia in the year 1967 to further my study. At the time, I was 18 years old. I was not locally born Taiwanese. I was born in Malaysia. 1967, I came to Taiwan, and then I have my university down south at Chimica University down south. And then in the year 1971, I was targeted by the CID of the ROC government for nothing. In the year 1971, because there was a minor explosion happened in one of the offices set up by the US government, the so-called the USIS, the United States Information Service. I went there very often because my Chinese at the time was not good. So I have to compare I have to read the English book instead of the Chinese version, so to catch up with my schoolwork. Because of the explosion, I was targeted. I came to Taiwan in the year 1967. 1967, at the time I was 18 years old. I came, instead of going to England, Liverpool University, I came to Taiwan. I was a major in the chemical engineering. Right after my high school graduation, I have applied to go to England, Liverpool University, to further my study for a chemical, not for biological science. But because one friend in my high school, he invited me to come to Taipei to further my study instead of going to England. So because of this promise, I came to Taiwan. After that, because I came to Taiwan, before I came to Taiwan, I knew nothing about Taiwan, including the social or the political situation in Taiwan. I didn't even know that Taiwan, the languages they use were Chinese or the Mandarin, so-called. When I back home in Malaysia, I was under English system. I was educated under the English systems, so it's very difficult for me to catch up with my schoolwork when I was at Chimica University, majoring chemical science, this chemical engineering science. My father came all the way, migrated from China to Malaysia. My mother he was also a Chinese descendant. Actually, it's very smooth for me for the 3 years of my university life. But after that, I do not know what happened to me. The CID just targeted on me that they say that it's reasonably believed that the so-called explosion happened at the USIS office were my plan, and I carried out the explosion. So they detained me because of this reason. Actually, it's a minor explosion happened at the USIS office at the corridor. According to the certain kind of information, it's carried out by some of the young school children in Taiwan. But it's really the one is the young Chinese student. They make the so-called the handmade bombs and put it down at the corridor, and suddenly the bomb exploded and hurting someone. At that time, there wasn't many of places that as convenient or as comfortable as the USIS. And then because that particular locations a lot of English books and magazines, and it's for me to read. So I went there very often. They took me up from the south to the north by lying to me that one day on 1971 on the March the 3rd, after finishing my class, on my way home, I was on my way home. Halfway, they stopped me. One gentleman stopped me and told me that I have a relative coming from Malaysia. He was now in Taipei, and he would probably be going back to Malaysia and tomorrow early in the morning. So he phoned them, he called them and asked them to take me to Taipei to have a meeting with the so-called my relative in Taipei. So I boarded the car, and on the way I found that I didn't have any relative by what they call. So I told them I didn't have such a relative. What are you going to do to me? Why were you bringing me to Taipei? They said to me, the answer is very ridiculous. They say, what you have done, you knew better than us. So all the way, they didn't speak any more words. And then they told me that on arriving in Taipei, then you would know what we really wanted from you.
What did happen in this second floor?
They stay here. They stay here to wait for the final decision. On arriving the location, they put me, asked me to sit in front of a desk with pen and papers, and started to ask me to write down a confession. But I knew nothing what they really wanted from me, so I couldn't write anything. I suggest them to hint, to tell me what they wanted from me, so I could write according to what they really wanted. But they said, no, you have to write by yourself. Sitting on that, I wasn't allowed to go to the toilet. I was not allowed to sleep. I was not allowed to have any food or drink. I do not know where it is until today. I still couldn't find the place. Somewhere in Taipei City. Somewhere in Taipei City. I do not know. I couldn't find out the exact location that they interrogated me. I was asked to sit down on a small stool. I couldn't even stand up. If I stood up, they would just give me a slap. I was totally worn out, but I couldn't even write down a single word. So they are not happy with me, and they started to beat me. You hit me with your fist, and then you kick me with the leg, the feet, and then until I vomit, I threw out a pool of blood on the carpet. And then they insulted me by asking me to use my own mouth and tongue to lick the blood that I threw out, to clean it. And then because of the tortures, because of the pain and insult that they put on me, I really can't endure. I told myself, if there is a chance for me, I would kill myself. I was committing suicide. Someone came in and saw that there's blood stain on my mouth. They asked me to wash that. I washed up, so I went in one out to the toilet. I went to the toilet, I found a black bottle down at the basin. I knew that it might probably contain a certain kind of strong acid used to clean the toilet in our time. So I grabbed the bottle, turned it open, and drank the water. But inside it wasn't the strong acid, it was the filthy water. This is the first time after the tortures I tried to kill myself. And then after that, I was brought back to the small table, in front of the small table, and forced me to sit down again. And then after that, someone came in with a rope and with a bucket of water. And then they asked me to stand up, and then they tie boots on my leg and my hand in the back, and hang me upside down. Then they use a wet cloth to cover my mouth. They covered my mouth, and then they use a very pressurized tube to pump the water into my mouth. Because my throat is up, I couldn't swallow the water. So I found that a kind of suffocation. And when the pressure increased, I felt that certain kind of liquid just came out from my eyes, from my nose, and from my ears. And this left behind the pain and the defects of my eyes, my nose, and my ear for more than 50 years. I have to endure the kind of pain and inconveniences that are created by the tortures. I still have problems with my eyes, my nose, and my ear. They are not functioning well, and then I could feel anytime my eyes are wet with certain kinds of liquid. I didn't know what kind of liquid or is it. And then half of my nose were not functioning well. I couldn't smell anything. And the nose and the ear, there's some liquid, smelly liquid, continuously came out every second. So you know that my ears are always smelly. So these are the pain that retained after the tortures. I didn't write down anything at all. And then the last torture, they hold my hand, my palm like this, and they use a needle to pierce into my finger, between the finger and the flesh. You know the pin, the needle, they just push it in, and then you could feel the pain. It's horrible. The pain is, I couldn't tell you how painful it was at the time. Once the needle went in, I just couldn't stand. I just fainted. And then they put 3 needles into 3 fingers. And after that, they used 2 chopsticks. You know the chopstick? The Chinese people used to eat a chopstick. They used 2 chopsticks, put it over here, and then they press hard. And you can see the blood coming out through the needle. It was horrible. Then we come back.
What is this?
These are the old buildings, old barracks. We call it the barracks. That belongs to the military academy before it turned to be the detention center. On this panel, the names appear on these panels where the people were executed during the White Terror. On the white, the years show on every single stones. The white one is the year he was arrested, and the red one is the year he was executed. You can see that the maximum people being executed were starting from 1951 until 1954. At that time, the Chiang Kai-shek or the regime thought that with the help of the American support, and because of the Korean War, they thought that it is time for them to eradicate those people who he thought might bring troubles to his regime. Actually, most of the people executed during that time mainly were the people came together with him in the year 1949, right at the retreat of the Chinese army, the KMT army to Taipei. Chiang Kai-shek was defeated by the Communist China, so he has a kind of fear whenever he thought of the communists. So he tried, and he didn't believe the people he brought together, who came together with him in Taiwan. So many people, 80% of the people being executed mainly were wrong cases. They didn't have done anything wrong or anything against the KMT government at all, but they were just suspected. They might have certain kind of dangers, so they just killed them for nothing.
How do you feel seeing these names and this place?
I don't feel bad. But I feel proud of them because the sacrifice, even though they have done nothing wrong, but the sacrifice for today's freedom and democracy that our children can enjoy. So I feel proud of them. So my name is just on at the back. You want to fill my name? My name is here. So you can see that from my name, I was arrested in the year 1971. I was released in the year 1980. So all the political prisoners would come in through this door. Once you enter the door, you will never know what would happen to you, how many years of punishment, or whether you would be punished to death or not. So we call this the door, the gates of hell.
Is this the same?
Yes, exactly the same, including the color, the wall, and the floor. Who were sentenced to death? They were used to carve on the leg. So during the daytime, when they want to go for the shower, how could they take off their trousers? It's not easy to take off the trousers with a change in between. And then during the night time, if they sleep with the feather on, this is very, very uncomfortable. All the punishments were decided by the president instead of the group of the prosecutors or the judges. The judges and the prosecutor has no power at all. About three to five. About 3 or 5 persons.
Do you remember them?
Of course I remember them, but the young guys, they're coming out. I do not have much impressions of them. But the political prisoners who were with me in this room, I still remember them, but they all passed away. They all died. They support me because I came without money. I was arrested. I have no money with me. They supplied me with the daily necessities, like the soup, the tea brush, the tea paste, toothpaste, those kind of things. They support me for all this.
Someone be executed or not?
No, they were sentenced to life imprisonment, and then one of them hanged himself because he can't bear those kind of tortures by his comrades or something like that. Then he hanged himself in the room. Many things happen. This is true. Many things happen. I don't know. I couldn't remember that. You know that since the day I learned that I was indicted under the death penalty, I couldn't manage to tell you how I passed by the time waiting to my last punishment, facing the presiding judge.
How did you survive?
I don't know. No, I do not know how I survived. Might be this kind of what is this? I was failed. I don't know how I survived. I just live like a walking death. No thinking. No future. Nothing. So every Tuesday, every Thursday there, within a week, every single Thursday, they were allowed to come to see the family members who were here. I was going to face my future here by myself, and then register here. And if they brought in some food, they have to put it over here for checking. So they cut the pieces like this. My mom missed me, and my mom was so worried about me. And then I was so regretful and sorry that it caused my mom such kind of worry and pain for knowing her son was in jail, and for not doing anything wrong, and was put in jail innocently. That's he make use of the international power, like the Amnesty International, like the American government, the senators and the House. They also try to save me, including Malaysian government as well. And they try to protect those people. And then they did, they internationally did, and they tried to rescue me so that I was not punished to death.
The doctor was a political prisoner?
Yes. He was. He passed away. Prime time from 21 until 33. This is the best time for all of us, right? We call it the prime time. I spent in jail. Because right after I have served my 12 years prison term, I asked the security office of ROC to deport me back to my home country, Malaysia. And then they say, no, we couldn't let you go because you knew too much of Taiwan. They didn't grant me, they promised to grant me the so-called the identification of Taiwan, would find me a job and place to stay, but nothing happened. On the day of my release, I started to become homeless.
What did you do?
I do nothing. I just roam around because I have no identification. I couldn't get a job. I have no job. I have no place to stay. During the summertime, the hot summertime, we can stay by the corridors or by the railway station or the train or the highway or the bus station. Homeless. I was homeless for about 3 years. For 3 years in Taipei, trying to get the so-called the identification of Taiwan. And then after struggling for 3 years, In the year 1985, by the end of 1980, early 90s, I think it's early 1986, I managed to get the identification of Taiwan. They finally granted to me. Catch up with the schoolwork anymore, so I didn't go. I go back to my university, and at the same time, I have no qualification. I have no identification to be able to register again to the university. I was totally kicked out from the university on the day of arrest. In the year 1987, when the so-called martial law was lifted, and then in 1988, I formed my own family. I traveled back to my home country in Malaysia. Then I came back to Taiwan. One young lady, she is so courageous enough to be with me. Then I start my future. At that time, at the time I was so reluctant to come back to Taiwan because certain things happened. When I was back home in Malaysia, my mother, my families, and my friends, none of them suggested me to stay down in Malaysia. The reason was something like this. First, you have left Malaysia for more than 21 years. You might not properly get used to the weather or the custom back home. Second, you have no academic qualification. I have no degree or something like that from university. Thirdly, you have no job experiences. I haven't been doing any job in Taiwan. Fourth, you were imprisoned before, right? The last one, you are aged. At the time, I was already 34 years old. I was already, 34, I was already 38 years old. Right after my marriage, then I started to think, what should I do? I have to struggle. I have to work very, very hard to support the family, economically, or the safety of my family. So I did a lot of things. Lucky enough, the time the economy of Taiwan was going up. So there were a lot of opportunities at the time. So one day I went to one of the factory. I applied for a job because I speak English. At that time, many the IT business, like the accessories of the IT business, were blooming in Taiwan. They need a lot of exports, so they need a lot of people who can handle the exports. So I was lucky to get a job. I was asked by some other company, the bigger company, to work for them, and then they offered me a very good position as sales managers. So since then, in 1990 and 1990 and 1992, I became the sales manager. I traveled a lot. I traveled to many countries, including your country, Italy. I traveled so many because I landed at Switzerland, Zurich airport. I rented a car. I drove all the way from Switzerland through Austria and Italy and to Germany. Then I worked for more than 20 years. I retired. In the year 2007. I became a social worker. I got a warranty to work, get a warranty for those poor people, sick people. Then 2011, I became the witness of the White Terror at this National Human Rights Museum. I have been here for 13 years, 13 years as witness, sharing my stories to the young generation in the beginning, the Taiwan young generation in the beginning. And after that, we have a lot of opportunities to meet so many foreigners, so many distinguished foreigners, or very high level representatives coming to Taiwan through the diplomatic relations in between both the countries. I think finally I found that why I came back to Taiwan. Why I didn't go back to Malaysia? Why I didn't stay down in many other countries that I can? I have the opportunity to stay down, but I didn't. I came back to Taiwan. To my analyst, I think Taiwan is the most freedom, the most of the freest country and the most safe country in the world. The social are changing today. You can see the great changes since we started to share our story. Now the young generations are courageous enough to stand, to fight for themselves. We can see it is very optimistic. I am very optimistic to see the future of Taiwan. The reason why we wanted to stand in front of them to share the stories, we hope that they can learn the lessons during that time. So after understanding what happened during the time, and then after understanding the freedom and democracy they are enjoying today didn't came from nothing. It's because a group of people sacrificed in the past so they can enjoy the life today. Taiwan today is a country who respects human rights, who respects freedom and democracy. But we are a small country. We are facing the big troubles of big pressures from mainland China. We hope that the free world can support us in many ways so that the communist China would not dare to start any kind of conflicts in between the Taiwan streets. But we are not looking for a war. I hope that Taiwan would cooperate with any one of the free countries in the world to support the freedom, to support democracy. We hope that the whole country should come to a kind of conclusion, so that we can come to a kind of understanding. Or at the time, the KMT government has done something bad to us. But today, we are ready to forget, to work together for the well-being of our population, or for the whole world.
Did you have any compensation?
Yes, we did. We did receive a certain kind of compensation, but it's compared to the suffers we have, it's nothing. But we are not going to complain anymore, because the government has apologized as well, but there are many things, even though the transitional justice has done something, but it's not satisfied, but can be acceptable. We are looking forward for the truth during the time. We hope finally the country should come to a conclusion that in the future, a certain kind of so-called SOP should be set up. In the future, no government, not a single person who is in power could make use of the state machine that tortures its population.